Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, good. So tonight we're going to talk about innocence. Deep down, when you hear that word, what does it mean to you? Go ahead. Give me your feedback. Innocent. Childlike. What else? What else?
Pure of guilt.
Huh?
Pure of guilt.
Pure of guilt?
Yes, so nothing obstructs me from feeling free inside.
Okay. Okay. What else? What does this mean? Naive. Okay. What else it means to you? Take a look at it. Ask yourself, what does this word means to me? Don't, if I'm asking you what it means to you, there is no right or wrong answer, right? Because I'm asking what this word means to you. Okay? There's a difference, okay? So go ahead.
Not to be involved in any negative doings.
Okay, not to be involved in any negative news. Okay, that's good. What else?
No judgment.
No judgment. Okay, what else? Anybody else wants to share? Okay. Sometimes we have to realize that some words have different meaning, okay? And that's kind of like unique to every one of us. So sometimes a word can mean one thing for one person and can mean another thing for another person. That's very common. So when I bring something to talk about it, the first idea that I have is that let's all together try to define this in one sense so we can talk about what I want to talk about it, okay, tonight. Even though that you later you can have a different perspective of this word, but I wanted to give a meaning to the specific word tonight, okay? Is that a plan? Okay. So when you hear that innocent, usually naive is one of the big things that we see as human beings. The person, like innocence, it's not a quality. You see what I'm saying? It became a problem. Because if you say, oh, that person is too innocent, do we have a good tone when we say that, or it's criticism? Think about it. Okay? So if you say that somebody is innocent, it has a sarcastic type of tone, and it's not positive. Yes.
It could be actually in the legal terms not being guilty as well.
Yeah, it could be that also, yes. But the meaning that I'm talking about is bringing this to our inner life, not to if somebody is guilty or not. That's what I wanted to talk about it. Usually, naive, if you call a person naive, you're not giving them a compliment, right? Okay. So if you give that person the sense of innocence, you also, usually, it's not a compliment. Okay, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. So let's get one thing out of the way first. Innocent is not naive. Naive is unconscious state similar to ignorance. Okay? When we are naive, we don't react properly to negative situations or content because we are simply unaware of them. Innocence, however, it's a conscious state. When we embrace innocence, we deliberately decide to avoid the negative elements of a content or conversation that could cause us long-term harm. Okay, so let's separate. Innocence is not naive. I want to bring that difference. Those are the differences because I knew somebody was going to say innocence is a naive because that's what we think, most of us. We think that if you are innocent, you are naive. Okay, and there is a difference. Naive is similar to ignorance. We are naive. We don't react properly to negative situations. So you see a dog that's coming after you, a naive person might say, oh, good dog, and the dog will bite you. That means the person is naive, okay? Innocence, on the other hand, it's a conscious state. It's when we embrace innocence. What are we talking about here? One of the Jesus' biggest teaching is allow what? The children to come next to me. And if you want the kingdom of God, you have to be like a child. Right? You guys remember that, right? The kingdom of heaven is like a child. And what Jesus Christ was talking about is that innocence. Innocence. That we need it in order to create the kingdom of heart within ourselves. Without innocence, we just can't get there. And we cannot have innocence or develop that innocence when we think as a negative quality, a problem. So let's bring that in. Again, what Jesus says for the kingdom of heaven is like a child. I mean, it's innocence. Okay, is that clear? Can we go next? Can we go again? Okay, good. And when we deliberately decide to avoid the negative elements of a content or conversation, okay, that's innocence. So let's say, for an example, that you said something to me. How many times would that happen? You said something to me, you didn't mean it, but what I do is I think that he's trying to hurt me. And then I create that in my mind, and I don't have the courage to go talk to that person and say, hey, what do you mean when you call me that word? But I create the stories in my head, so that means that I have no innocence. When I have innocence, I go, you know what? That might mean nothing. I don't know what he meant. And if I really want to know what he meant, I have to ask him. So when you don't have innocence, you take everything very personal. Every single word that the person said, it might become an attack to you, to your ego, because you don't have the innocence. Okay? So that's one thing after that. So when you decide to avoid the negative elements of a contact or conversation, that could cause what? Long-term harm. If you lose your innocence too much, if you distance yourself from innocence way too much, what happens? Frustration, depression, and long-term harm that we really don't want it. Okay? So innocence is a deliberate series of choices that we make to preserve and cultivate our personal integrity. Okay? So we all look for integrity, right? So we all are. If you're here, it means that you're looking for integrity. So innocence is what's behind integrity, because it deliberates a series of choices that makes us cultivate, okay, your personal integrity. So without innocence, because of the opinions of others, you might have a very bad idea of who you are, okay? So to keep our inner lives clean, so let's give an example that we say, like, innocence is like your capability to keep your house clean. Let's see, there was a storm outside, you went outside, it's raining, so you come inside of your house and you put muds all over, and then you come with a map and you clean it, okay? The same way we can call innocence that capability of us to keep our inner house clean. This is a symbolic way of putting, okay? So to keep our inner lives clean and lovely, free from images and thought that we don't want to have embedded in our mind. Look how innocence is important. Because when you don't have innocence, everything is so perfect, you keep that thing, it's so personal, you keep that thing going on. You know, we call that monkey minds, that is going over and over and over and over, because you don't have the innocence to let go. So those images and thoughts is what makes our home, interior home, okay, not very clean. Not very clean in the meaning, this is also symbolic, okay? It means that it's full of conflict. When you don't have innocence, you will have more conflict than anybody else. And what we have today, there's a lot of conflict. We have conflict outside, but we also have a lot of conflict within ourselves. Okay? And innocence is something that can help us. If we want to focus our mental and emotional energy on the worthy and lovely things in our lives, it is essential that we find a way to filter out the material coming at us that can negatively impact our heart and the mind. Okay? And that filter is innocence. That sounds good, huh? And in the society that you were teach not to be innocent. Oh, look at you. You're so dumb. You know? You trust people. You trust people too easily. You know? Those are the concepts that it's running into our mind constantly. Okay? When we deliberately decide to be innocent, our innocence acts as a gatekeeper, turning away some of the distorted and harmful things we face and keeping them from rooting themselves in our mind. Oof, if we knew that, long time ago. Let's talk about how much things we have root within our minds that we are seeing the damage today. Okay? So with innocence, we can do two things. We can go ahead and clean it, but we can also use as a gate for us. What do I want? Do I want to observe this in a certain way? Or should I be innocent and say, oh, that didn't mean a thing? I can let go. You see, when we criticize someone, and when we think about that the other person is trying to hurt us with words, and that happens all the time, we have to look into ourselves and see that how much that behavior is damaging us, not the other person that says that thing. So the responsibility is ours. It doesn't matter if I pick up the phone and I call Raphael to complain that that person did this and this and this and this to me, and I'm trying to hurt the other person's image, but deep down I'm only hurting my inner world, like hurting in the sense of conflict. And that is not a good situation. Why do I want to keep doing this? Why can I be a little bit more innocent? You see the importance of innocence? Without that, we allowed others to hurt us badly. Have you seen two kids playing? You know? It's funny because one of the things that my mom always said to me and my sister, she always said that if the kids are fighting, I do not get involved. So don't come home complaining that Mary, you know, you had a problem with Mary, that it's your age, and this, and this. And I used to say, but why? You should go there and talk to their mom. And my mom used to say, because give it a few days, you guys are best friend again. See? That's innocent. That's the childlike. You let go so easily. You remember when you were a child? You know? Remember that. Everything that was like, I will fight with you. If it was your neighbor, 2 days later, 3 days later, you guys are playing again like nothing happened. That's innocence. How come we lost that? It was so much easier not to hold something against anybody. What is the mechanism? What was the quality that made that happen? Innocence. And we need that. We need that. We need that badly. Okay? So this is a very fair statement to say loss of innocence is really a loss of an open heart. Right? I'll let you think about that. What happened when we lose innocence? We lose our openness to life, to people, to dreams, to desire. Our ability to be in the present and feel what we feel gets compromised. We may still laugh, we may still play, but it's just less carefree, less authentic. We became too tight. There's judgment. We judge others so badly. But don't forget, everything that you do to others, you do to yourself too. It's impossible to do to others what you don't do to yourself. So when you judge others, oh, look at the way they act, look at the way they fact, look at are they doing right or wrong? It's killed or not killed. I like that. Oh, I don't like that. Look the way they talk. Look the way they do it. That criticism, it goes to you. So you lose your capability to live a life with an open heart. An open heart doesn't judge. And every time we judge, the first person to get in conflict is you. You can't be judging a homeless person. Please pay attention to yourself. At the moment that you judge that homeless person, you get in conflict instantly. It's an inner conflict that you go, ew, or you go, ah. When you are a child, doesn't matter when you're 4 or 5 years old, you're friends with everybody, you don't care. If that person is this or that, you simply didn't care. At the moment that we start caring so much about what other people think, at the moment that we start to care so much about what society thinks, what the systems think, or what was established as right or wrong, or good or bad, I lose the innocence and I lose the capability to live with an open heart. Now, who does not want to live with an open heart? Right? Life has no taste if we don't live our lives to the full. You know? If you don't live with your heart, with your life with your heart, you only live in your mind, judging and being inflexible and all this, life loses the fun of it. You may laugh, you may still play it, but it's just less carefree and less authentic. How are we living our lives? So the big question that we have is, I think we already see how important this is, okay? And the root to all this, the openness to life. The openness to life is innocent. You guys got that? Okay? It's important. Openness to life, to people. To people. To dreams. So how do we get it back? Right? So we all need it, right? We all need this. We want to get it back. Is that possible? What do you guys think? How can we do this? Right? This is such an important ingredient to our life that we were born with. We were born innocent. We lost the touch of innocence. But we have it. We all do. We all do have it. So I want it back. I don't know about you guys, but I think we all want it back. We want this carefree feeling. We want this open heart. We want to not only live our lives to the thought, but we want to live life with an open heart. Right? So how to get back? This is an AUI. This is an expression. A group of California research script is official definition for you. AUI is ow. I'm sorry, ow. It's an emotional, thank you, response to perceptuality, vast stimulation that must be, that transcend current frames of reference. Say what? I couldn't get that, so I was like getting a better answer. So, ow. Did I pronounce it right, guys? Ow. It's the whole body experience of being a present of something grand, something outside our normal experience, something transcended. Ow is the experience of wonder. Think mind blow. Basically, anytime you verbally or bodily saying, wow. That's how we get at innocence. That's one of the things that we need to be able to do it. And think about the capability to express that wow moment. But you know what the problem is? You can see a flower and go, wow. You can see the ocean and go, wow. You can see a tree and go, wow. It's magnificent. So in this everyday life, we have a bunch of opportunity to say, wow. When you wake up in the morning, you have the choice. Innocence is a choice that you make every single day. And you can wake up in the morning, open up your eyes and say, wow. Because life, it's nothing less than a wow. Think about it. But we're so crowded with judgment and a lot of stuff that we don't get to live this magical experience that we can have. Because we don't have the innocence. It's beautiful. Have you seen a child going in a place for the first time? Have you seen a child? They celebrate. And look at us going on a trip, and then we go to this magnificent place that we never been, and we go like this. That's cool. Interested. You know? We don't have an open heart. Right? Why can't we say, wow? Why can't we say amazing? And this will train our mind, to perceive things differently. That's the perception that innocence gives you when you look at things. And sometimes we look at things and we don't wow because that doesn't matter. We don't give the importance because we are too stuck thinking about our own well-being, thinking about the bills that we have to pay, thinking about our ways that we have to live, that we have to follow society, the way we look in other people's eyes. And then life goes by. And we don't see the kingdom of God. Not because we have to go to another dimension to feel that, it's because we don't have the innocence to see that. Everything that surprises, life should surprise you every single day. Because life itself, it's magical. And when we train our eyes to go to that, to the owl, okay, we have also the body experience. Because sometimes our body says, wow, we don't express, we don't allow that experience. Because we're worried what other people are thinking. So there's a lot of things that don't allow us to wow life every single day. It could be a different reason for me, it could be a different reason for you. But if you start to exercise and practice this every single day, and even if you think it's fake it until you make it, but do it. Experience, practice it, that you see the sun rising or the sunset, look at it and says, wow. See? It's going to exercise your mind to look at something different than what you see and open the perspective. And life can be very sweet. Sweet life with innocence. Innocence gives you that sweetness of life. Innocence will allow you to let go of no matter what happened to you. Because innocence has nothing to do with your past, what happened to you in the past. It has to do with your capability to switch your perception on the now, the present moment. And everything that you look with is sweet. Try to do that. Try to look at something with a sweet eye. Try to look at a flower, not as you. Try to say, I'm going to look at this flower with sweetness. It changes the way you see a simple flower. So when you add that ingredient of sweetness, there is nothing more beautiful than a baby laughing, right? A child smiling. But when you look at things with a bitter heart, nothing will make sense. Nothing. And you can try this. You look at a flower, and then you intentionally say, I'm going to look at this flower, but I'm going to add a sweet emotion to it. You might have tears in your eyes just by looking at this flower. And the sweetness is what we call innocence. Thank you very much for your time.